and we will start our side event. So nowadays, internet and social media are in everyone's pocket almost, and internet has changed the way we read, we travel, we shop, we rest. For many people, going online is a common way to access up-to-date information, while just in second, while learning, while shopping, while traveling, while spending leisure. So in the field of psychoactive substances and health promotion, the biggest internet advantage is to reach target group on local, national, and even global levels. So also internet has its capacity to ensure anonymity, confidentiality, it's making easier to seek for support, communicate, and engage. So the main idea of this side event is to present different but successful experience for online prevention from different countries, Lithuania, Norway, and I hope Japan. So Helen is our moderator. So Helen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Warm welcome to the side event, Prevention in Everyone's Pocket, Discover the Possibilities Online, organized by Lithuania with the support of Japan, Norway, and the Council of Europe Pompidou Group. My name is Elena Edu. I'm Program Manager at the Pompidou Group, which is the Council of Europe's drug policy cooperation platform. This year, Pompidou Group celebrates its 50th anniversary. 50 years of expertise in the drug policy area, enabling policymakers, professionals, and researchers to exchange experiences and know-how on tackling drug use and drug trafficking. Playing an important role on the international drug policy arena, Pompidou Group promotes the core values of the Council of Europe, human rights, democracy, and rule of law, and provides a forum of open debate for its member states. In today's side event, we will speak about the expansion of possibilities for providing prevention offers online. Topic of prevention and the use of new technologies and online interventions was raised by the Pompidou Group member states already several years ago in the C&D context in several side events. Maybe we were a little bit ahead of time several years ago, and now with pandemics, where the virtual has become a predominant part of our lives, the topic is no longer to be considered as nice to have, but rather must happen if we want to effectively respond to the reality we are facing. Indeed, COVID-19 pandemics impacted strongly our lives and the ways prevention programs are implemented. The traditional face-to-face settings are limited, and population is in need of an additional support due to current conditions. Challenges also offer us opportunities to continue providing services using creativity and innovation. This object, ladies and gentlemen, our mobile phone, is what unites the majority of people in the current world. Despite of economic situation of individuals, almost everyone owns a mobile phone nowadays. So let's see today how different countries use the possibilities this tool provides in terms of offering drug prevention offers and support. In terms of running this side event online today, I invite you to use chat to ask questions to our distinguished speakers, and we will hopefully have time at the end of the event to take your questions. If you have a question to a particular speaker, please indicate to whom you are addressing your question. So let's see if our colleagues from Japan managed to connect.
No, we can't see them for the time.
So then we will hope that they will connect soon. So then I'll pass back the floor to Gražina Belan, whom you already met from Lithuania. Mrs. Belan is the Deputy Director of Drug, Tobacco and Alcohol Control Department and Head of State Foundation for the Promotion of Public Health Lithuania. Mrs. Belan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ellen. So what is possible online in Lithuania? So I would like to present your Lithuanian experience based on our successful comprehensive initiative for different target groups. First of all, I will speak about informational website for youth about psychoactive substances, where we aim to raise an awareness about drugs and referral for help, and interactive learning program specially designed for parents are tools designed to help them to better understand their children, to strengthen their relationship with children, and provide them with necessary information about psychoactive substances. Good family relationship, also felt parental support and positive examples. It's among the most important factors for successful development, socialization, health, and well-being of children. And also it means less healthy behavior. In Lithuania, study shows that 1 in 4 of 5 9th grade students feel insufficient family support. Teens are reluctant to ask their parents questions about drugs. 55% of parents spend at least 50 minutes a day with their children, giving them full attention. And only 59% of parents have talked to their children about the dangers of drugs. So I can say that, unfortunately, parental involvement in the prevention of substance drug use in Lithuania is rather passive. Children are often reached by untrue information. Their knowledge of psychoactive substances is unreliable, quite poor, and so they can't find answers in reliable sources to all questions themselves. But we know that parents can help them. But in Lithuania, some parents really find that it is very difficult to start to speak with children about psychoactive substances. And often parents also look online for answers, while internet has become their second nature. Not only internet has become the second nature of their children, but also and of the parents. So I would like to present you informational website that non-governmental association Mentor Lietuva, Mentor Lithuania, together with cooperation with our Drug, Tobacco and Alcohol Control Department, created. It is an educational online program for parents. What do children do? And it is unique and quite user-friendly online portal designed for parents to help them to strengthen their relationship with children. And what is more important, that on this website you can find 15 very attractive lessons for parents. For example, why different generations have the different views, different issue on the same issue. How to speak with children about psychoactive substances, and even how to prepare to start to speak with children. Also, you can find here very interesting tests, videos, useful tips, other information. And from 2020, this portal, What Do Children Do, is administered by our Lithuanian Drug, Tobacco and Alcohol Control Department. In 2020, almost 28% of parents of school-age children knew about this website, which is more important that this page of the website, Facebook, also was, and there is very popular and has many seekers. And for Lithuania, the number of seekers more than about 40,000 is really quite a good number. The other tool is specially designed for youth. And in this page, consists of 9 information sections, 9 information rubrics focused on questions facing youth about psychoactive substances, including to find the alternatives and attractive activities for self-development. It also provides description of psychoactive substances and even including street names of psychoactive substances. So we would like to be very open, we would like to be very true and to provide children with really reliable information about psychoactive substances. The rubrics of this website, this website is called I'm Critical, include 582 topical information links concerning healthy lifestyle, sports, self-development, books, activities, cultural events, 28 myths and facts in relation to psychoactive substances, and this content of this website is frequently updated. In 2020, almost 61% of website content was updated, and new, very important tools were designed, were created. I mean, chat. Users can send questions by email or chat. Informational website for youth about psychoactive substances, where we really aim to raise an awareness about drugs and referral for help. Very interesting story of the designers of this website. The whole story started in 2018 when our department really reacted to the nowadays content of psychoactive substances use, and having taken into consideration the best practices from other countries, together with the Vilnius Academy of Arts, developed this website, I'm Critical, and the content seeks to adequately inform young people concerning psychoactive substances, effect and risks of their use. It aims at encouragement to be open, to communicate, to act, not to fear some challenges and responsibilities. And mainly, the main idea is to lead a healthy lifestyle and interesting life, to have confidence in oneself. Also, this website can be introduced as the best practice of cooperation of different sectors. And as I mentioned, in the design, in creation of this website was included not only state institutions, not only private sector, not only non-governmental sector, but also cultural and art agencies. And now we have so many friends from different sectors, but the aim, the goal, we have only one and the same. So I think that this website is one of the examples of the best cooperation between different sectors when we are facing with the problem of use of psychoactive substances among children, among young people. So I introduced Lithuanian experience, and if you will have some questions, please write them in the chat. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you very much. Very inspiring ideas, especially in the way how you support parents in their role of parents. It is something that we think that parents by nature should know everything, and it's a very wrong assumption. So thank you for doing this job to educating us all in our role of parents. I see that we have Japan that managed to connect to us. So I have a pleasure to introduce our speaker, Mr. Tadashi Horiguchi, who is director of the Base for Addiction Counseling Services and Education in Japan. Mr. Horiguchi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and sorry for we are so late. Can you hear me now? Right now?
Yes,
okay.
Very well.
Great. All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And let's see. Let me share our PowerPoint. Would you? Let's see. Oh, great. Thank you. You got that. All right. I'm going to go through with this slide with you. Now, thank you for the opportunity to present some examples of awareness raising using SNS in the prevention of drug abuse in Japan. Well, my name is Tad Horiguchi from Shogakukan Shueisha Production, in short, Shopro, the company entrusted with Drug Abuse Prevention Awareness Visit Project, which is by the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare. I'd like to present on behalf of all of us here in Japan team. Now, first of all, we'd like to express our deep gratitude to Dr. Shimane, who acted as a catalyst for this connection, as well as his advice. Now, I've been working with Shopro since 2006, and my role now is an advisor for a drug-related project. Okay. Now, next, please. Okay. So first, I'd like to briefly share the status of the drug abuse in Japan. Since time is limited, I'm going to present what the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare has entrusted to me. Well, methamphetamine is the most abused drug in Japan. Around 1950, the number of arrestees on the grounds of methamphetamine abuse was over 55,000 a year. However, the number has been declining around 9,000 in 2019, at the lowest number so far, by means of strict legal development through law enforcement activities and continuous effort on anti-drug campaigns through education and advocacy. On the other hand, the number of cannabis offenders has been increasing recently. In particular, the number of young people less than 30 years old has rapidly been increasing. According to the recent research in 2020 regarding the prevalence of drug use in Japan, 0.4% for methamphetamine, 0.3% for cocaine, and 1.8% for cannabis use. Whereas most of the prevalence remains at low level, the rate of cannabis use has slightly been increasing in these several years. Therefore, we believe it is necessary to further strengthen the efforts of awareness-raising activities in order to prevent young people from drug abuse. In our presentation, we will share one of our activities implemented by the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare to prevent young people from drug abuse in Japan. Now, let me talk about our project. Shopro is a subsidiary of a well-known publishing house in Japan called Shogakukan. Well, Shogakukan publishes many books for children, such as manga books, illustrated encyclopedias, and English teaching materials. Shopro's corporate philosophy is through edutainment, which is education plus entertainment. Making a net positive and enriched with manual philosophy, having fun, acquire the correct knowledge of substance abuse and how to protect yourself. The main task of this project is to dispatch instructors who are specialized in drug prevention education to provide the prevention awareness education. In addition, we lend out our awareness-raising mini games for various events. Also, we use Facebook and Twitter to disseminate information related to drug abuse prevention. We are trying to improve the familiarity and awareness of drug abuse prevention. So we created original characters and used them as a way for children to learn while having fun. Now, I'd like to talk about the awareness-raising activities using SNS. There are three main themes. In order to call people's attention, we share news which are related to drug abuse and points to be aware of temptation to drug abuse in daily life. Because there's sensational content, many people tend to read them. Number two, we report on the state of schools where we visited nationwide, how the students were, and what they seem to be interested. Number three, we are writing articles that convey positive messages that would help increase self-esteem, such as wonderful places in the world and quotes of various people. The content is easy to understand, so even people with little interest in drug abuse can read. Among the three themes for SNS, we focus on articles that can help enhancing self-esteem. Self-esteem is the keywords here. This is the data that compares survey on whether young people are satisfied with themselves in 7 countries, including Japan. From this data, we can see that Japanese young people tend to have less self-esteem than other countries. If you have low self-esteem, it might be difficult to say no when someone offers you to use drugs. Also, when something happened, if we can't ask someone for help, the situation might get worse. This also is self-esteem issue. That is why we post articles that may enhance readers' self-esteem, especially on SNS. Next, I will explain why we choose Twitter and Facebook as our tools. In Japan, as you see, Line, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are the 4 mainstreams. Twitter is often used for teens to 20s, and Facebook for people in their 30s and above. So we adopted these two for public relations. Line is quite popular, but we don't use it because people mainly use that chat function only. Next, I will show you the number of the reach. Between April 2020 and March 2021, over 1 million people have access to our articles in Facebook and over 480,000 in Twitter. Such the number of people we could, since the number of people we could reach by visiting schools was 66,000. We think SNS is a very effective tool for our purpose. The advantages of using SNS are, number one, that we can reach to many people, especially young ones. 2, that we can send messages regularly and continuously. 3, that we can easily set the target groups. On the other hand, disadvantages are, one, that the volume of information conveyed has a limitation. Number two, that someone could make comments that are inappropriate for the purpose of the article. We don't have any control over what people post. However, we're concerned about how young people would take such information when comments such as those that approve drug use are posted that distort the message we want to convey. If we get comments that go against the purpose, we take the following actions. For Facebook, we post a precautionary statement as you see in the slide. And we take measures to hide posts that are judged to be too inappropriate. And for Twitter, since it's not set up to respond to each comment, we are planning to set it so that all comments cannot be posted. Ordinarily, one of the great attractions of SNS is that direct two-way communication is possible. At this point, we haven't taken advantage of it, so we are looking for a better way. Now, I'd like to talk about the outlook in the future. Public relations through the internet is a tool with great potential. However, sometimes it is difficult to convey the information that we want to convey correctly. For now, we think it is important to strive to provide information that will change the attitude of many people, and we plan to consider utilizing platforms over other than Facebook and Twitter. In addition, it's necessary to think about future awareness raising this with a view to the information literacy education, so as not to be confused by incorrect information. We have a lot of work to do, but we will continue to do our best because we believe that it'll help children's happy future. Well, thank you for your attention. This is all. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, and we wish you all good luck in all the great work that you do. And indeed, it's a good reminder with your presentation to remind us about learning through fun activities and having this edutainment as the baseline to structure the prevention activities, especially for children. And this creative idea of creating cartoon special characters, which children will immediately associate with specific messages that come along. And indeed, the question that you raised about analysis of social media, which depending on the target groups, I think this is a very important topic that we all need to bear in mind, because those working in drug policy, either government or NGOs, very often we belong to different age groups and we all use different social media. So it is exactly what you said, depending on the age. Also, the children, for example, use different social media. So we really want to be present where our target group is. And this is what I underlined for myself from your presentation. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much.
And now, so I hope we'll have time for questions from our also guests here in the side event. And now I invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to go from Japan to Norway. We have next two speakers that share with us the best practices from Norway. Our guests today are Mr. Øyvind Give, Head of the Departments for Social Determinants of Health of the Norwegian Directorate of Health, and Mr. Sturla Christopher Næss Johansen, Head of Section of Rustelefonen Norway. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Elena, and good afternoon, everyone. let's see if we can get our presentation. There it is. Thank you. We are here to introduce you to a few examples of online prevention in Norway. I will present one of them myself, and then my colleague from the Norwegian Drug Helpline will show you some other examples afterwards. But first, to give you just a little bit of background, I would like to mention a few basic principles of drug prevention in Norway. First, drug addiction should be addressed through prevention when possible, treatment when necessary. And this means, I think, and moving to the second point, a rather heavy emphasis on early intervention. Prevention should start as early as possible in life. I think Lithuania also made this point. And this again means, moving now to the third bullet point, that affordable preschool care and universal high-quality education are among the most effective prevention measures available. A fourth point, drug addiction should primarily be addressed as a health problem, not a crime. This point reflects a relatively recent turn, in fact, in Norwegian drug policies. And last but not least, policies and measures should be informed by the best possible evidence. When it comes to drug prevention, this has actually not always been the case, and there has been a tendency historically in Norway as elsewhere to exaggerate the health harms from drugs, at least in mass communication. So this is an example of the opposite strategy, prevention through sober and fact-based information. What you see now on the screen are screenshots from the web page The Weed Center. And originally, the idea behind this project was to make a physical cannabis exhibition, a kind of traveling pop-up museum. However, because of the pandemic, we switched to this virtual edition. And that might have been just as well, because we probably reach far more youths this way. The exhibition is a very nice and neat 3D tour through several aspects of cannabis, its various forms, the chemical components, possible health effects, etc. And the main idea behind is that sober evidence-based information from health authorities about what we actually know and what we do not know is a better way to prevent youth at risk from using cannabis than exaggerated and less trustworthy campaigns, especially in a world where more and less trustworthy information floats freely around on the internet. The exhibition site is also supported by an online forum where youth can ask questions and get reliable answers. So with this very quick tour and snapshots from the Weed Center, I'm sorry I can't show it in real life because it's a really neat site. I'm going to leave the floor to another branch of Norwegian Health Authorities' prevention activities, namely the Drug Helpline. The floor is yours, Sturla.
Thank you. I'm just waiting for the presentation. Thank you. So I'm going to talk about our prevention work online. And firstly, I'm going to talk about the Drug Helpline. Okay, I can't make it go forward, so oh, there it is. Okay, so Rustelefonen is a national governmental-run drug helpline in Norway, and our main target group is youth experimenting with alcohol and drugs and their parents. Anyone contacting the service is ensured anonymity and confidentiality, and it's not our role to judge or moralize. Our website annually has more than 2 million sessions from about 1.4 million users, and less than 1% contacts the service in any other way. So that means the website is by far our most important tool for reaching the public. And almost 80% of the people visiting the website does so from a smartphone. And this is the website with the 3 means of contacting us in the top, and that's by telephone, by chat, or writing questions that are answered on the web page. So, Norwegian youth uses less alcohol, cannabis, and other drugs than the average European youth. This is from the SPAD survey. But still, the use of alcohol, cannabis, and also some other drugs, especially cocaine and MDMA, rises dramatically during the so-called russefeiring. This is the graduation celebration for high school students that occurs when the youth are about 18 to 19 years old. And I could also mention that 18 years old is the age limit for drinking alcohol in Norway. So this is why we decided to focus our website prevention work towards the youth during this transition in life, from the graduation celebration in spring, through the music festivals in summertime, and finally as they start university or college in autumn. And we have made guides for all 3 of these occasions, targeting both the youth and their parents. All the guides targets excessive use of alcohol, so-called binge drinking, and tries to educate the youth about this, especially the loss of control and bad decision-making while being intoxicated. The guide further focuses on strategies for harm reduction, both regarding alcohol and drug use. And this is the guide for the graduation celebration. And you can see the youth wearing the traditional red and blue overalls. And this is the guide for the festivals in summertime. The guide also tries to enable parents to have a proper talk with the youth, so that the youth is better prepared for the time to come, and also to make the parents less concerned. And the college student guide further includes 2 podcasts. They're both taped in front of a live audience, and these podcasts were hosted by an influencer or comedian and took the form as conversations about drugs between students and experts. And this is the student guide, and the girl on the picture is Pia Tid, a famous Norwegian influencer and comedian. We mainly use social media to direct traffic to our website, and we do this through one-way communication, since users usually aren't anonymous on social media. We are currently present on Facebook and Instagram, and we reach a younger audience on Instagram in comparison to Facebook. But on both platforms, we also reach services working with youth. We use a social media content calendar for the whole year to plan what to post and when. And we have experienced that so-called stories, quizzes, and short videos work best on Instagram. Longer videos and a lot of text doesn't work as well. We often address parents on Facebook and direct them to articles targeting parents of youth experimenting with drugs on our website. And we also found that videos work well on Facebook. So this is our Facebook site. And this is what our Instagram site looks from a smartphone. 3 different examples. But we also made 2 smartphone apps. And why did we do this? Well, there are some benefits to apps that also applies to internet-based interventions. It's cost efficient. One can reach target groups that are reluctant to use the general healthcare services. It gives the opportunity to save information that can be displayed graphically to the user to boost motivation. And saved information can also be used in psychotherapy sessions. Further, you can use gamification as a positive reinforcement or means of motivation, as the Japanese showed us. And you're able to identify high-risk situations for relapse. you're able to suggest alternatives to getting high or intoxicated, and you can give information about withdrawal symptoms to prevent relapse. Further, there are also some benefits that only apply to apps. Firstly, it has much higher availability. The app is available as long as you bought your mobile phone, and one does not have to search for or log into a web page. Further, it's personal and safe. Potentially sensitive data is only saved locally on the user's mobile phone. It offers greater anonymity. The user can be anonymous and has greater control over what information, if any, is being shared. And further, you have a greater opportunity to give continuous personalized feedback to the user, also when the user is not connected to the internet. And you have closer follow-up, so the app can send push notifications to the user as a reminder and to further ensure commitment to the program. And you have a greater opportunity to remind the user about changing the way he or she is thinking and acting by giving on-fly suggestions. And it's probably more attractive to young users. So we made 2 apps, one called Drikkevett, and translated to English, it means sensible drinking. And this is the app that gives you better control over and greater awareness of your alcohol intake. And the app will help you identify in which situations you tend to drink and help you to drink less. And we also made the HAP app, that's a Cannabis Cessation App. And HAP is an app developed to support people who want to quit or reduce their use of cannabis. And we made a study and we compared the user group of the app with the user group of a community-based cannabis cessation program. And we found that more women used the app. And although the severity of cannabis use did not differ between the groups, the app users exhibited a higher depressiveness score and a lower perceived well-being score. And you can read about this in an article. So this suggests that the app did capture an expanded segment of the cannabis using population, and that the app can be an alternative for those who are not yet prepared to seek treatment in formal healthcare services. I think my time might be over, but I can shortly introduce the features and content of the HAP app if you want to. Elena, or?
Yes, go ahead. We still have some time.
Thank you. Okay, so the main feature is a self-assessment tool that helps to map and understand what triggers craving and strategies to handle this. Yeah, you also have withdrawal graphs that shows your progress and what symptoms to expect day by day. The gamification element that shows your accomplishments and milestones. And a lot of information about cannabis use and how it may affect you. And also, it measures and visualizes the time you have been without cannabis and gives an overview of how much money you saved. And it has a lot of advice concerning motivation and reflection. So that was some examples from Norway. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Great examples. And what is interesting that you're using such a variety of prevention offers, from online forums, exhibition, podcasts, apps, targeting different target groups, and also using the influencers, the bloggers. That is, it is very trendy nowadays and works well with young populations. I invite those attending this side event to ask some questions to the speakers. We still have some time. While people are typing their questions, I have a question to Norway. When you're elaborating these tools, especially for young people, do you involve them somehow in the elaboration of these tools? And yeah, what are your ways of getting their contributions?
Should you answer that, Eivind, or should I?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I can just say a few words about the Weed Center. It's very much based on insights from youths themselves, and it was actually the whole design and the idea of the page was based on on youth interviews and talks, and so. But you probably want to fill in, Sturla.
Yes, but we've done exactly the same. We have been testing this on youth and using focus groups and discussing both the apps and internet content with youth all the way. And that's really important, or else, because we as grown-ups don't know what attracts youth the most. So you have to include youth in the process.
Thank you very much. I don't see any questions in the chat. Our audience is shy today. I then have myself a question to Lithuania to understand better, how do you promote your website? What are your channels of promotion, both targeting parents and young generations?
Thank you, Ellen, for a very interesting question. So we use all channels we can use, and we use media, we use Facebook, we use other, as we call them, our ambassadors. So it's all, also we use our influencers. Also, we are when we have some special events, for example. On some special days, we promote this website when we have some trainings, when we have, and for specialists, we also promote this website, and information about this website was sent to all Lithuanian schools, so teachers and parents and also children, they can access all this website, all information, and to share their experiences, to be very active. And as I mentioned during my presentation, we also introduce some new tools like chats, like some they can send us questions and to receive these answers. So I think we use all channels we can. So.
Thank you very much. And looking at the time here today, I see there's no more questions. I see that we're coming towards the end of our side event, and some conclusions from my side. After hearing what our available presenters have said, it reaffirms the necessity of being up to date and provide the society with the tools and methods they will likely be using. Prevention offers and programs should not be only limited to face-to-face settings, and online interventions should coexist with more traditional interventions. In the same way, more and more target groups of different programs meet in different places these days, and many of them being virtual and different virtual spaces. So therefore, a very effective possibility of reaching these people is the use of these new technologies and our mobile phones. In addition, the internet's greatest advantage is its ability to reach potentially large groups of people on local and global levels, providing a high degree of anonymity, as was said in the beginning. New online offers have shown to be particularly effective in attracting hard-to-reach target groups. As we heard today, podcasts, videos, online consultations, and family games are means to reach different target groups. Also disadvantaged target groups, such as families with addiction problems and young people and partygoers who would normally participate in presence programs, especially in nowadays in terms of pandemics. So we hope that this side event was inspiring for you, and we will be looking forward to hear from you, sharing your successful experiences with online prevention projects at the next year in this session. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for all the speakers.
Thank you. And next time, I would like to wish all of us next time to meet face to face in Vienna, in Austria, and to share our experiences and to speak about this side event. So thank you.
Thank you very much. See you in New York.